Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where last episode we put up a multi-satellite launcher and ran into a few issues with the satellite themselves. They are steerable, but it takes a while. No doubt about that. In between episodes, I got one of the communication satellites into position, that is this guy out here, and I intend to continue to work on this slowly off camera. That is the idea. Over the next few episodes, we'll get those put up. And we're going to put one in an equatorial and polar orbit around Kerbal, one around the moon, and one around Minmus. But it's not a super high priority to get that done immediately, so we're not going to just hammer that on camera. It's just a lot of really long, inefficient burns. So it's okay. That can happen completely off camera. No worries. I'll just keep you guys updated with the status of that. My plan is to do like one per episode, but we'll see. We'll see. For now, I do want to hop into the mission control and take a look at what we need to do. So our currently active missions are something that's already happening passively. Okay. Land on Minmus and docking on or around Kerbal. On Kerbal. Well, that would be really easy. I was thinking about grabbing this Rescue D-Lorf, making a cost-cut version of our heavy lifter, and then just doing what we did in Orbit of the Moon. But this can happen on Kerbal. So that's like ludicrously easy. We can hop into the VAB, and we can create ourselves a bit of a roller. So we can put in, it doesn't really matter, we can do like a Probodobodyne hex, although a like Rover body would probably be best for this, but it'll be fine. We can go into the structural, and I want to add in, let's see here, which one of these is structural? This one. We can add in something that's a small adapter. Not really the size I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that widens this, makes it a little bit wider. Structural tubes aren't really what we're going to go for. I mean, we could just go with like modular girder segments with a modular girder adapter potentially. That's too big. That is too big. But we could do the small adapter like this. And then put in a cubic octagonal strut is smaller than I'm looking for. We can just do a micronode here potentially. That's too small, I think. So we would end up going with just a modular girder segment like this. This doesn't have to be anything fancy. I'm going to turn mirror on. And we're going to position this approximately here. Let me just snap it into position. That's a little bit better, but it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be. And then I'm just going to put in something like that. Cool. And that'll do absolutely fine. This will be very narrow, though. So actually, I've changed my mind on this, I think. Well, hang on, I'm just thinking here. What if we did something kind of like this? That should be reasonably functional. Cool. And then the idea here is we just add some wheels to it. So we could do like Rovemax S2Ts. Are these smaller? Rotated 90 degrees. No. So we want ones like this. It doesn't have to be the greatest wheels in existence. Now the mirror modifier is not actually the mirror modifier here. The mirror modifier is maybe not the one that we want to use. We'll see if this ends up being like awkward. We'll probably have to do like reversibility or something. But all we want to do is something like this. And then we would grab a docking port and position it about like that. We don't need one on either end, but that might make it slightly easier. Okay, we should probably have some sort of power generation for this. So we'll just give it a like 3x2 retractable photovoltaic panels. We're not going to have this go anywhere, right? This is just going to be here, but that should do just fine. Cool. So these might be inverse of each other. We'll see. We're just going to put this out on the pad. And then we're going to put a second one out on the pad and dock it up, just to complete the contract, since that can be done on Kerbal without a liftoff. So hopefully that will give us a mission to land on Minmus from the World First Record Keeping Society. That would be awfully nice. We'll see how realistic that ends up being. Okay. Yeah, so we can see that these guys are awkwardly inverted from each other, but it seems quasi-okay. Are we out of power? We're out of power already. Hilarious. Okay, I'm going to... We can't actually activate the brakes group here. So we'll just park this down over here, I guess. We can't do any steering because we're out of power. But this is just automatically steering down this way. Okay. And hopefully it comes to a stop down here. And then we'll, like, warp until morning. Yeah, we can't warp while we're moving like this. We also can't turn on our brakes. I should have thought about this power situation and the fact that it was night. I just assumed that it was going to be day. And I probably shouldn't have. So apparently we're going quite a ways. Oh. Physics warp kind of broke it. Cool. Okay, well, we can just send people out here to put it back on the pad. And so I'm just going to revert this back to the launch here. All we did was we sent Jeb to go grab the rover and physically move it back onto the pad. There we go. Cool. And he also plugged it in to recharge its batteries. Now we're going to warp until sunrise, and we're going to tell Jeb, wait to drive it off the pad until sunrise this time, Jeb. You're lucky that nothing blew up. So here we go. We're waiting until sunrise. Fantastic. So that'll do. Now we've got plenty of power. So we're just going to head off over, apparently off the side. Good job, Jeb. Good job. Okay, that's probably to do with these wheels. Now, we're going to have to recover this one because Jeb broke the solar panel this time. But yeah, that's almost certainly because of the wheels. So good job, Jeb. You just wasted some money. Why do we have Jeb piloting this thing anyway? That's a terrible idea. So I'm pretty sure that our problem is that our wheels are just offset. It's not a big deal. So we're going to put this on the pad. All we have to do here is clear the pad. Ideally, clearing the pad without actually falling off of it. That's the goal here. That is our only goal. So we need to figure out which wheels are going which direction because we were like drifting there. So I'm just going to do this number. There we go. Much better on the steering department. Cool. All we got to do is get off the pad. So we're going to come on down here and we'll toggle our brakes action group once we get... Actually, I'm going to start it now. Okay. And we're just going to go over to this, like, grassy patch here. And we'll brake there. Cool. That was the plan. Now we go back to the Space Center. And we're going to grab ourselves another one of these. So this is kind of a, like, prototype for some of our colony systems, right, that we're going to have. So that'll be great. Very important to have that information. So we have to make sure that this works. We're going to hop into the VAB and complete our contract. We'll be able to recover both of these in one go. So we'll just go ahead and launch this, and we'll steer it in exactly the same way. So the problem appears to be when accelerating while steering, which is fine. I'm not concerned about that. This is a very, very early prototype. That's a problem that can be fixed later. All we're really trying to test here is the docking port. Okay, so we're going to turn it. There we go. It didn't want to turn for a bit there, but it's all good. We're going to set this as our target, and we're going to control from here. Cool. We're going to need to turn on our brakes here pretty soon. I don't want to be going too quickly. So we'll keep this moving pretty slowly. There we go. Now we can accelerate just a wee bit. And hop over here and dock it on up. I'm going to decelerate us down to about 1 meter per second. And there we go. We've docked. So there's our world first milestone. We started constructing the first outpost on Kerbal. Hilarious. We performed a docking maneuver on Kerbal. Excellent. So now we can recover this vessel. And that is absolutely perfect. So that completes that contract. Now the question is, do we get one for landing on Minmus? That would be useful, for sure. We'll see what we get here. Explore Minmus. Okay, this is just orbit, perform a spacewalk. Noted. Is there anything else we can do while there? Well, we can get a low orbit of Minmus. Okay, so in that case, we should be able to get a cost-cut heavy launcher here, or rather, heavy lifter. We're not going to need the lander, so let's open up our moon landing machine here. Or actually, we could go to the moon orbiting machine. This is already somewhat cost-cut. And it should do the job just fine. There should be no real problem here. So we can bring along Jeb and Bill. We're not going to want to bring Bill necessarily. Bob has lots of XP. I think we're going to bring Kenken here. Kenken has the least amount of XP. Jeb is already 2-star, so we're going to grab Valentina here and try to get her up to 2-star. Cool. And this should be more than enough Delta V. Yeah, it should do the trick. So we're going to save this and launch it. Now we're going to actually run that Minmus orbit mission that this was intended for. If I recall correctly, we only actually did a flyby previously because we were expecting to be able to get the orbit mission, but instead it popped up something different. It was a docking mission. So that's fine. We are going to SAS on, throttle up. We shouldn't need to do anything here. This is already reasonably cost cut because we've already eliminated this central stage and all of our landing apparatus, as well as our cargo bay. So that should all be good. This should be absolutely fine. No problem. Off we go. Cool. So we're going to start our gravity turn here. Maybe slightly late on that. So I'm going to go a little bit more aggressive on it here. Okay, now we'll lock prograde. Cool. How long do we have on our side tank burns? Another minute full. So that's not bad. Not bad at all. Time to apoapsis is increasing, which is fully expected, and we're going to try to punch through this atmosphere as quickly as we can through these thicker portions of the atmosphere. Our vertical speed is still increasing, which is expected since we're over a 45-degree angle here. Cool. However, our horizontal speed is going to start catching up. We're still a little bit faster vertically, but now we're starting to put more into our horizontal than our vertical. Cool. Now we're getting more horizontal speed. We can see our apoapsis height is already 50 kilometers. Not bad at all. 10 seconds until booster detachment. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Successful booster detachment. And we're just going to target about 200 kilometers, I think. That's absolutely fine. That said, at this juncture, we are okay to point directly at the horizon. We've got more than enough vertical speed. We now only need horizontal speed. Cool. So there we go. We're at 60 kilometers. And once we hit space, we will extend our photovoltaic panels, which is right now. We also just hit 200 kilometers in our apoapsis, so we'll call that good. And we will add a maneuver here and circularize. It's a decent amount that we need because we had a lot of vertical speed there, as expected. But that's not bad. 500 meters per second. That'll be more than enough. Okay, we will position for this burn, and then we will warp. Because we've got some work to do. So let's bring this on around. And commencing warp. This is, of course, going to be a full prograde burn once we get there, but we're just going to continue to warp for a few seconds here. 30 seconds to go. 20, 10, and 2, 1, mark. Cool. So we'll just burn here until our periapsis is approximately 200. It doesn't have to be exact. And then we'll need to do an inclination change. Looks like time to apoapsis is beginning to increase, so we're slightly early on this burn, it feels like. I'm going to bring this around, and we're going to burn this at like 6 seconds. Actually, like 2.5 seconds to apoapsis. Not that this is strictly necessary, but... Okay, we'll burn about now. Okay, that'll do. Beautiful. So our orbit is nearly circular, not exactly. And what is our actual inclination right now? 0.6 degrees? Okay, I don't really care too much about that because we're going to need to change it anyway, with Minmus being our target. So the descending node is here, and the ascending node is going to be 5.9 degrees, so we're going to need to burn normal a decent amount here. So about right here. Cool. We'll position for this normal burn. Let's rotate on over. We've still got another 3 kilometers per second in this stage. This is still pretty overbuilt. No doubt about that. Let's just position for this normal burn, and we will commence warp now. Beautiful. So we will commence this burn about a minute after this warp ends. I do not want to be going back to prograde. Thank you very much. Just adjusting our heading slightly here. There we go. Okay, and the burn is going to be in about 3, 2, 1, mark. And off we go. Well, we're changing our inclination. We're not going to Minmus just yet. Okay, is that good enough? Probably. Let's check. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay, cool. So now we need to plot an intercept course to Minmus. Probably somewhere around here would be my guess. I mean, that does the trick. We want a low orbit here. So let me just grab our existing maneuver. No, I don't want to add a maneuver. I want to select this maneuver. There we go. Changing the timing here. Ooh, that's very close. Okay, pin that open and... Okay, we can fine-tune from here. Gonna be aiming for about 20 kilometers. That should do the trick. Beautiful. So we will head on over to that position. That's going to be basically prograde. I mean, it is a pure prograde burn, I believe. I don't think I added anything other than prograde in there. I wanted to look at the actual maneuver. Helps if you have it selected. Yeah, that's pure prograde. But, of course, we're going to be down over here for the moment because we have some more orbiting to do before that time comes up. Okay, for the moment, this is actually looking decent on this trajectory. Okay, we'll call that good. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. We'll prepare for a prograde burn and continue to warp here. Starting in 10 seconds, which will give us a little bit of time to turn for the prograde. 2, 1, mark. Cool. So that'll be fine. No problem here at all. We've got another 500 meters per second to burn. And we have so much fuel for this, to be honest. So much fuel. We may crash this into Minmus. I don't know. That'd be a decent way to dispose of it. Okay, how's this looking? We're not there yet. Ooh, that overshot. Okay, that was very sensitive. We're going to physics warp our way around to retrograde. And we need to bring this on back around. And we need to burn very cautiously. We are very powerful right now. Okay, so let's bring that on back. I'm going to thrust limit this engine down to like 3.5%. And let's bring this on down. Now, I believe this orbit is retrograde, so I think we want to come around this way. 33 kilometers? Okay, even that's a little too sensitive. Let's bring that down to 0.5%. And we'll fine-tune this in a little bit more. Yeah, this changes when we physics warp. That's normal. It'll change back. Okay. Now it's 83 kilometers? That's weird. But we'll bring that on in to about 20. That'll do. Okay, so now we should warp to here, in theory. Before we do that, I'm going to unthrust limit. Actually, maybe I'm not going to unthrust limit this engine. This is Minmus we're talking about. Let's take a look at what our thrust to weight ratio over Minmus will be. We're going to need to go retrograde, of course. And that'll be absolutely fine. No problems there. Goodbye, Kerbal. Goodbye, Moon. Minmus, here we come. Not sure where exactly it is right now, but there's the moon. Cool. There's our big ol' mint snowball. Perfect. So we're now over Minmus. Okay, so our thrust to weight here is 0.35. We can definitely bring this up a bit. To be like 10%. That's 7. Okay. 3. 2.11. 1.41. That's good enough. That's good enough. So let's go ahead and grab our mystery goo observation and our materials study here. This is in space high, and we are going to get almost all of it. Let's have Kenken EVA. And Kenken is, of course, going to let go and head on over this direction. And we're just going to reset these. Come on, Kenken. Get in there. Collect the data. Restore. Collect data. Restore. Cool. I should have grabbed it up here first. Noted. We'll see if there's any more of this that we can actually grab. So we'll hop in here. Is there any more that we can actually grab here? Yes, we can grab this materials study. So we'll store that in the experiment storage unit. We'll grab this materials study. We can close the service bay at this time. But Kenken should EVA here. There's no more mystery goo data to be grabbed, or at least it's below our threshold of 0.1 science. So we're going to head over here. We're going to collect this data and restore the Science Junior again. That will now be stored in our re-entry module. Okay, so we'll grab here and board. Beautiful. So now we are ready to enter orbit. So we're going to come down to this periapsis. We'll be there in about 2 hours, and we will go retrograde here. And I just want to circularize this. Cool. That should do. We'll align for that burn, and then we'll warp on over. There's Minmus. Still quite a long ways away. Ooh, I'm having a hard time arresting that momentum, but sure. We'll just warp up a little bit here, and that'll be fine. We'll be pretty close. Cool. So this is just going to be 165.9 meters per second. We're only going to be returning with this fuel. I think we'll ditch this into Minmus. That'll be okay. And we're going to start this burn in a few seconds here. Let's go ahead and give it a little bit of extra warp time. That seam is pretty disgusting. I'm not going to lie. That's probably just an LOD issue from our distance, but yikes. Okay, so we're now officially in space near, and we're going to start our burn in 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Hang on. Let's make this be a little more powerful. We'll take it up to like 50% thrust. Okay, so that's going to be in like a minute 45 seconds. Cool. I don't actually want to stop time warp at this time. I want to get this burn done. So 3, 2, 1, mark. There we go. That's more like it. Okay. Our periapsis is down a little bit more than it maybe needs to be. No, we need to do something more like this. I was a little confused. There we go. So that'll be fine. We are now in orbit around Minmus and free to gather our science. And that is where we will leave this for now. Next episode, we're going to grab our science. We're going to crash this into Minmus, and then we're going to return with this. And that's just to police our space junk a little bit. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including Kazerall, ALS Gamer, Kentwin, James, Shadowwolf, MLohan80, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Video Games Are Not Real, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Unisil, Kadra, Rogue Corvid, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.